Bienvenido a otro video del Colegio Boston. No olvides suscribirte, activar la campanita, darle like y compartir.
Hello students, how are you today? I hope that you are having a beautiful day. Today we're going to talk about other topics that are related to the week of June. Thank you very much for Colegio Boston to be transmitting this type of videos. I really thank you because in this way I can get really close to you, to my students, to the people that I really care about, and to the people that are in need of a guidance, okay? Today we're going to be talking about passive modals, okay? So please remember to watch this, the previous, and the following videos of June for you to have a real connection to the topic, for you to have like a main idea of what it is that you have to do in the grammar part, which is like the most important and probably the most difficult for you, okay? But don't worry, let's get started with today's video. So, shall we go? Let's see. Today, we're going to be talking about passive modals, okay? Like I was telling you, passive modals. That is the topic of today. Now, let's please like try to imagine, okay? And I'm telling you, imagine, because in these times of the pandemic, it is not very simple for you to travel, to go somewhere else, more than from you to your house and into the store and maybe coming back. Probably going to the supermarket, but that's like that it, okay? Maybe going to the gas station in the case of your parents, but that's all that you have to do. I mean, that's all that you must do. Please stay at home. Like they say in the commercials, please stay at home. Please help us do all the work for you. Please let us be the ones who give you the information, who gives you the knowledge, okay? And please be you, the people who are always attentive to these videos. So thank you very much for watching this video. We're going to start. It says, imagine that you are planning to travel to another country, okay? Imagine that you want to go to Canada, let's say, okay? But there are some things that you need to do. There are some things that you must do before you think about going to another country, okay? It says in here, there is a lot that you need to do before you leave, okay? There are some errands that you need to do, to perform, to happen before you plan to go to another place, okay? Here are some things that might need to be done, okay? Do you see how I'm using that? That might need to be done. In that case, we're always using the passive modal verbs, okay? The passive voice, if any. I don't know if you remember about passive voice. It's very simple. If not, you can ask me anytime. I can tell you all about the passive voice. But let's check some examples. It says, your passport must be renewed. Okay, in this case, if you check, if you are with me in this moment, if you are paying attention, we have something that is very important, which is the word must. Okay, do you remember what is must? Must is like a modal verb that you can use to talk about duty, to talk about obligation, something that is like absolutely necessary. Okay, if you want to travel to Canada, your passport must be renewed. Probably they are not going to ask for a visa, okay? Visa is mostly for like United States. But in Canada, they're going to require that you have your passport on a daily basis, okay? So your passport must be renewed. Now, if you are checking, like I'm telling you, if you are here with me, you can see that we have must as the modal verb, and then we have another word, which is be. If you remember, this be is the verb to be. Now, let's say must be, and then we have another word, which is renewed. Renewed is a verb that is in the past participle form. Remember that it's like present, past, and past participle, okay? In this case, we're talking about past participle. Past participle of renew is renewed. Now, that's the first example. Let's go and see the next example, shall we? It says, your hair needs to be cut. In here, needs to is the one that we are using. This is our modal verb, okay? The modal verb that we are using in here, it expresses, if any, a necessity, something that is required, something that is necessary for you to do. Now, needs to, and then again, we have the word be. Remembering, be is the verb to be. And then we have the verb, which is cut. Now, you think cut is in present? Well, surprisingly enough, cut is cut in the present, cut in the past, and cut in the past participle. So there is no difference, there is no change, no problem. But in here, we need to continue checking. We have needs to is the modal verb, be, and the verb in past participle, cut. Okay, so maybe we're like starting to work on the structure. We're starting to see how to form a sentence, how to make a sentence, how to do a sentence correctly in the passive voice. Okay, now let's continue. It says, your shoes should be repaired. Okay, in this case, what is the modal verb? Your shoes should be repaired. Your shoes is the modal verb, right? No. If you say that shoes is the modal verb and you say, yes, teacher, yes, shoes is the modal verb. No, you're not paying attention. Shoes is a noun, okay? So a noun can never be a modal verb. Then I may ask you, do you know which is the modal verb? Is it repair? No, repair is the verb in the past participle. Ah, I know, be. No, be refers to the verb to be. Then it's your has to be, nah, obviously no, boys, girls, come on, you're better than that. We have should. Your shoes should be repaired. Okay, let's change some colors, make it more different. We have your shoes should is the modal verb. Then we have be, which is the verb to be, and then we have repair. Repair is the verb in the past participle form. Okay, so we're checking. We have the modal verb, we have verb to be, we have the verb in the past participle to make passive voice sentences. Okay, now passive voice sentences are very important. Why? Because they express something more about the place, the object, the activity, about what is done, rather than to talk about who is doing the action. Okay, some cases it's important and we have to mention it. Some parts it's not important, we do not have to mention it. Now, for example, it says your dog is or will be taken. Do you see the error? Because I'm checking at the error. Your dog is will. Can you have two modal verbs in one part? Can you have is and can you have will? Is that correct? Is the teacher incorrect? Is there an error on purpose? Well, let me tell you, yes. That error is on purpose. Don't think that the teacher is incorrect. Like, nah, the teacher just said because he wants to go away. No, I wrote this on purpose. If you check, for you to see that this was an error. So we should remove will, right? It should only be like your dog is be taken. Are you correct? Are you sure? No. Then again, the teacher is just playing with you. No, the one that you have to erase in this part would be is. Okay? But the verb to be is. Yes, I know. In a conjugation form, normally the verb to be can be am, is, or are. I know. But in this case, it's not how we need to be using. In this case, remember, we are using be, yes, but we are using the be after the modal verb, okay? So when you have your modal verb will being your modal verb, we need to use the verb to be. But this verb to be needs to be in the simple form, okay? Be. And after that, we have the verb in the past participle. We have taken, okay? Your dog will be taken to a friend's house during your trip, okay? Now, you may say, But why is be in the simple form? I mean, teacher, be, we always conjugate teacher. You always say, we have to conjugate the verb to be as is, as am, and as are. And yes, I always say that. That is like absolutely true. But in this specific type of sentences, be cannot be in the verb form, in the basic form. Okay? Maybe you're a little bit confused and you're like, aha, teacher, yes, whatever. Sure, you are correct. Now, check. Why do we have to say this? It's because when we are using a modal verb, okay? Remember, modal verb is a word that, if any, changes how we use the other verbs, okay? A modal verb in this case is going to modify the verb we have, okay? Now, we say modify the verb. Now, if we have a modification of the verb with the modal verb, then it cannot be another modification in the same sentence. Why? If you know me, if you know my class, I always tell you that we have a pleonasm. Pleonasm. And you say pleonasm. What is a pleonasm? Well, a pleonasm is when you repeat 2 times something that is not necessary. Okay? For example, if I say, I don't not know the answer. Teacher, I do not know the answer to this question. In this case, we are repeating a word. If any, we have in here contraction of N apostrophe T, which is not, and then we have not one more time. In this case, this is a pleonasm. You are repeating something that is not necessary, okay? Now, having that in mind, let's see. We say that when we have a modal verb, the modal verbs are already modifying your verb, okay? So if a modal verb is already modifying your verb, it's not necessary to have the verb with another modification. Because if you have the verb with a modification, and then you have the modal verb that is one modification, you have 2 modifications, and then you are having a pleonasm, repetition that is not necessary. Okay, so for example, if I say, let's have your shoes, let's take into consideration the previous exercise, I mean the previous sentence, your shoes should, we have in here the modal verb. Remember, modal verb is one modification, and then we have is repair, repair. Now, when you say your shoes is repair, we have is, and this is the modification of the verb to be, because the verb to be in the simple form is only be. Now, if you say conjugation of be is, normally yes, but in here, should is modifying your verb. So you have should as a modification, and then be is not necessary to conjugate. We have be, like it says in there. Your shoes should be repaired. Okay? So, taking that into consideration, taking in mind that we have that modal verbs modify the verb, then the verb does not need to have another modification. Okay? Super necessary. Now, let's continue with the next one. Now, on the next one, it says, what do you think about the past sentences, the ones that we already checked? Were they all passive sentences? Yes, they were all passive sentences. Now, you may remember that in a passive sentence, the person performing the action or doing the action is not stated because it is not very important to know who that person is, okay? Now, let's have that in mind. If the person doing the action is very important to understand the sentence, well, then we mention it. But if the person is not necessary, it's like absolutely not necessary for you to mention, then don't mention it. Just say what happened, and that's it. Don't say who made it possible for that situation to happen, okay? It says, For example, in the sentence about the haircut, do you remember the sentence about the haircut? It's in here. Your hair needs to be cut. In that sentence, about the haircut, the listener does not know who will cut the hair. But that's okay. It's no problem. That is completely okay. Because it is not very important to that statement. It is not important for the sentence. It is not important for you to understand this sentence. Your hair needs to be cut. That's it. There is no mention of the person that is cutting your hair because that person is not necessary. It can be your mom, it could be your dad, it could be a hairstyler, it could be your neighbor. It doesn't matter who cuts your hair, okay? Probably when you are in a school, in Boston, let's say, they tell you, you know what, your hair is like super large. Your hair needs to be cut. Boston school doesn't care who cuts your hair, but it has to be a cut, well hair, beautiful hair, maybe with some gel, no problem, but it needs to be cut, okay? So your hair needs to be cut. Who cuts your hair? We don't care. It doesn't matter. Just do it, okay? Now, you may also recall it, like you may also remember that for the passive voice, we use the structure be plus past participle, as you notice in all of the example sentences, okay? Be and the past participle. Remember that I was very effective telling you, well, we have the modal verb, we have be, and we have the past participle. Well, I was telling you that because that was the structure, okay? So now, let's remember some facts about the modal verbs. It says that modal verbs are helping verbs that express possibility, ability, duty, permission, or advisability, okay? So this is the part where I was telling you, these modal verbs, they modify, okay? They modify your sentence. They give another meaning, another sentence. They give another context, okay? For example, when you are using can, it refers to an ability, okay? Something that you are able to do, something that is like a special ability, if any, that you can do. So we have that. Can is for an ability, okay? This one, it doesn't look good. Let's use another one. So this one, better. Can is for an ability, okay? Something that you are able to do. May and might, we're talking about a possibility or probability that something may or may not, might or might not occur, might not happen, okay? Must, it expresses duty, something that you must do, something that is necessary for you to do, something that is like a commitment for you to do. Now, should, it is expressing advisability, okay? In this case, it's expressing you a suggestion. And also can could be used for permission, and will could be used to talk about, yes, to talk about the future. If any, will is a modal verb that is helping you to know about the future, a future sentence, a future event that is going to occur sometime in a different time from now, okay? Now, that we have checked that part, let's continue. It looks difficult, doesn't it? But don't worry, this is surprisingly simple. The structure is as follows. Subject plus modal verb plus be plus the past participle. That's it. That's all that you need to do. Subject plus modal verb plus be plus the past participle. You finish. That's it. So simple? Yes. Really, teacher? Yes. Now, we have in here modals in passive voice. We have the subject and we have different modal verbs. May, might, can, must, should, need to, okay? Plus the be, the verb to be, plus the past participle. Like I was telling you, simple and easy. For example, in the sentence about the haircut, need is the modal, okay? Then comes the verb to be, and its form does not change. This is what I was telling you. Verb to be is not conjugated. It doesn't have an inflection. It doesn't have a change. In cut is the past participle of the regular verb to cut. So there you have it. We have modal verb, verb to be, and the verb in the past participle. That's it. That's all that you need to know. Let's continue. Let's compare now active versus passive voice modal sentences. Okay? It says active. Our English teacher may give an exam today. That is a possibility. Now, in this case, we want to express this, but to another person. We say, an exam may, like maybe yes, maybe not, an exam may be given by our English teacher today. In this case, it is very important for you to mention your English teacher, so we mention it in there. Now, it says active. Thomas has written many books. Passive voice. Many books have been written by Thomas, okay? In this case, if this is a very important person for you to mention, we mention it. In this case, Thomas. Now, active. One can give them some information about the job. Passive voice. Some information can be given about the job by one. Okay? The last sentence. You must obey the traffic rules. If they tell you do not pass, do not pass. That's it. If they tell you stop, stop. No more. You have to do it. You must. It's the obligation. Okay? Must is for obligation. The traffic rules must be obeyed. That's it. Okay? Now, in here, let's have a quick exercise. This is for you and me to get to know if we are paying attention on how to do the sentences. It says, you may forget the rules quickly. Okay. Instructions, very important instructions. Put the following sentences into passive voice using modals, okay? Always remember to use the instructions, to read the instructions, to know what to do. You may forget the rules quickly. The rules may be forgotten quickly, okay? Do you see? We're using the verb forget, but in the past participle form, we are adding up the verb be, and we have the modal verb may. That is not changed, okay? Now, you should study the lessons repeatedly, okay? Now, let's start a sentence by having the lessons, okay? So we have, let's have it like normal, regular. The lessons what? The lessons is the subject, and then we say that after the subject with the modal verb. Modal verb should, and then we have the verb to be, not conjugated, only like be. And then we have the verb study. Study in the past participle is studied. So the lessons should be studied when, how often? Well, in this case, repeatedly. Repeatedly. And that's it. Oh, sorry, my bad. Repeatedly. Excellent, there we go. Is that difficult? No, super simple. Like I told you, super simple. Then, Benjamin must win the competition. Let's have first the competition. The competition what? The competition, what is the modal verb? Must, okay. The competition must, what? Like that? No. Remember, verb to be. Be is very important. The competition must be won by who? By Benjamin. That's it. Now, they should cancel the game, okay? But who is they? Do you know who is they? No. Is it important to mention they? No. Okay, so let's start. The game what? Should be canceled. And that's it. But teacher, you don't write the person, they. No, because it's not important. You don't know who is they. Could be the authorities, could be the principals, could be the students, could be the teacher. It doesn't matter. It only matters to say that the game should be canceled. That's it. Let's have the last one. The doctor can't persuade her. Okay? Cannot convince that person. So let's have she. Let's change that part of her to she. She can't be, verb to be, persuaded by who? By the doctor. That's it. Simple and easy. Do you see? It's not difficult. It's something that you can do. Anyhow, if you have questions, you can ask me. No problem. Okay? I'm only going to leave this for 5, 4, 3, 2. It's gone. Okay? Now, to finish up with, please, thank you very much for watching today's video. Please remember to send your homework to your teacher, writing your complete name, day, week, month, and a reference to the exercise that you are giving or that you are sending to your teacher, okay? Super important. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Have an excellent day. Good.